Hey everyone, hope everyone is enjoying their week. I mentioned that a special announcement was coming Tuesday the 4th for the show, and I'm going to get to that in just one moment. But I first want to say to everyone listening, I kind of reiterate this time to time, but nonetheless, I'll do it again. Thank you for the support. Thank you for all the outreach that has occurred during season 4. This is the season that I believe I have had on the most guests from across the political spectrum, some more high level renowned guests such as Glenn Greenwald, Brad Palumbo, and others. But it was a fantastic season. Thoroughly enjoyed it and really appreciate all the feedback that people provided throughout this season. So just want to say thank you there. Now getting on to the announcement. So the show is going to take a indefinite pause for putting out all content that includes episodes, but also reels, updates, stories. So it's going to take a pause for indefinitely, in essence. Now, this isn't due to my full time job, I'm just getting pulled into too much. It's actually because I'm going to dedicate a large portion of my focus and free time into another project endeavor, actually, a couple, but one mainly. And before I allude to what that project is, I just want to say that the past really 4 years of doing this have been extremely illuminating. The conversations I've had and debates have been nothing short of fantastic and really honed in on how I speak or talk to people or just try to learn about things. So, doing this, if anyone is listening to this who wants to do like a podcast or just have a channel, I would highly encourage you doing it. The only thing is just know the commitment that is going to come with it, which isn't to scare anyone away, but more so just, be aware of. Nonetheless, back to the point. So, this show has been nothing short of fantastic and extremely rewarding, for lack of a better term. And the reason I'm going to put a pause on the show and the project I'm going to be looking more towards is boys and men's advocacy. Now, when I say that, some people wince, sneer, or just blow it off altogether. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Boys and men's advocacy. What does that even mean? And in the project I'm working on, we'll get into all of that. But that's kind of the reason why I'm doing it, because there is so little legitimacy into this issue, and it's really pushed off as something that's non-existent, even though there's empirical studies and anecdotes and just all around a number of evidence that indicates that boys and men are struggling in a number of domains. So that's one reason why I want to move into this, because it's one, I'm passionate about, but two, I don't really see a lot of people doing this. For example, I'm also extremely passionate about free speech, almost a free speech absolutist, and definitely free speech absolutist to the extent of the law, which is protected under the First Amendment. But there's great organizations and people who are in this space already doing fantastic work. FIRE, the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, is one of those organizations, and they're doing great work. Then another issue I'm pretty passionate about is geopolitics. But then I hear people such as Sagar and Jetty, who speaks on this issue rather well on breaking points, and I'm sure who he actually is quite persuading. But when I see this issue, the only person who I actually see dedicated their pursuit towards this issue is George the Tin Man. I actually had him on, and that was one of the most listened to episodes that I've ever done. I believe way over 500 listens, and then not including any reels or shorter videos I made from it. So that was a highly listened to episode and received a great number of feedback on that, mostly positive. So that's what brings me here today, because the project I want to move into is called Men of Tomorrow. I'm doing it with 3 other people in terms of how it's looking at the moment. It's a roundtable discussion where we dissect the contemporary landscape for boys and men. The first episode is coming out June 27th, and then there'll be a few other episodes coming from that. But this is just the beginning. This is the beginning of something big. This is the beginning of a journey that's going to take me, I'm sure, and anyone else who would like to join and participate and help, to raise awareness to this issue. This may and most likely will involve educational programming, advocacy, even to the point of legislation, I envision it as, and also just a fighter. And what I say by a fighter is not in like the physical way, obviously, maybe not obvious, but not in the physical way nonetheless, but someone who will unapologetically advocate for boys and men's issues. Now you have someone like Richard Reeves who's done a great amount of work in this boys and men's space, and I've learned so much from. But when I listen to him at length, especially on podcasts and other, say, TV shows he will do time to time, he approaches this issue from an apologetic tone, as if, like, I know women and girls have these issues. This is why people should care about these issues. That's 100% true. There are obviously specific issues that affect men and women differently, and there has to be the appropriate response towards that and resources available to address it and the work and so on. But there has to be someone out there who's just advocating for boys and men unapologetically and doesn't have to kind of take this subservient position when they do so. And that's the mission I plan to embark on. Doesn't mean that women's and girls' issues are less important at all. That's not even the slightest, I would say, implication of this. But that's kind of part of the problem, which is there's a zero sum interpretation when you talk about boys and men that automatically, in some people's minds, means that you don't care about girls and women. Once more, not the case. Now, what happens next is this roundtable discussion is going to be rolled out June 27th, the first episode, but the Instagram page and YouTube channel has been created. So if you're listening to this, please go and follow those pages on Instagram and YouTube and also TikTok, where content will be added to on a consistent basis moving forward. And if you have any questions or would like to support in any way, please reach out because, as mentioned, I'm still figuring a lot of this out, but I still have a path I'm walking on and think it's the right one. But if you have any ideas or something pops in your mind, please feel free to reach out on my personal Instagram at Dan Corcoran. I think it's Dan Corcoran 28. But yeah, we'll much appreciate it. And follow the page at Men of Tomorrow on Instagram and on YouTube plus TikTok. So if you listen to this, thank you. This is not to say that the podcast will never come back or Overcoming the Divide will never come back. Just for the foreseeable future, it's going to be put on a pause so I can dedicate my efforts elsewhere. But yeah, thank you for listening to this. Thank you for the support. If you have been listening to this podcast throughout the years, it's much appreciated. And I will say the best is yet to come. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you all and take care.